Welcome to episode 6 of 5 with Fraser. Now, my next guest is the embodiment of empowering women. What hasn't my next guest done in terms of well-being, from dance classes in heels to international retreats? Now, this is a famous global coach. Welcome, Cherelle Jay.
Wow, excuse me. I really like it. Thank you. I haven't heard that be said out loud yet because it's still something new that I'm working with. So it feels good. When something has to feel good in your body, you're like, wow, that's expansive. That's some rock star level shit.
I think you should tell the world what is a global coach.
Do you know what? I only figured it out recently because I transitioned into business coaching 6 months ago. But I also don't really like the word entrepreneur as well. So I was struggling with what do I do? But I have 4 businesses. And I was like, I know I help people create movements. And then I've taken my movements across the world. And I've become this international person without having to be a celebrity. And it's I want women, but people to feel expansive, feel like they can take over the world in their capacity, whatever that means to them. I said that could be talking on stages, or it could be taking your children on first class flights, whatever that means to each individual, but it being way bigger than just the city and the place that you're born in. Take your shit worldwide. So yeah, it feels good.
It's impressive. And so is your Instagram page.
Thank you.
I was having a look at it today, and some of the things I was seeing, as I said, very, very impressive. I wish I could come on some of these retreats.
Do you know what? A few guys will say this, and I'm like, it's so funny because it is empowering, but obviously it's predominantly women. We held a festival this year. And so many of my guy friends were like, can I come? And I was like, yeah, because I actually do want to immerse men into this experience, but also girls are going to be pussy popping and shaking ass and having a great time. So can you hold that down? So it's more I need to juggle the feeling of how do I create the worlds where they merge together. And I really hope spaces like yours that you're now creating, that there's going to be safe, accessible spaces that men are creating that can bridge the gap. I don't want it to be women against men. And I think people come on my page and they're just this girl that just must hate men. And it's the absolute opposite. I'm just this is my duty, to help women who need whatever that is, confidence or whatever. But it would be great to have spaces like yours that just can align. So yeah.
Maybe something for the future.
Listen, I'd like to take business worldwide. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important to say that you are my first ever guest that I don't know personally. So
I'm not even gonna lie, I'm usually good with most things, but I was getting a bit nervous because I was I'm very expressive, and some of the stuff that I say could be a bit out there, and I was do I have to tame that down? How's it gonna be? You never know. And I know you haven't really put some of the episodes out live yet, so I was I don't even have references to really watch what the vibe's gonna be. So same. Even though I can be a business coach, confidence coach, I still get nervous as well. So thank you for having me.
That makes me even more grateful that you've come on without seeing much. So thank you, and be you 100%. So the show starts with some icebreakers.
Okay.
Question number 1, you ready?
Okay.
I know you're a frequent flyer.
Yes.
So you're on a plane.
Yes.
You get stuck. The TV, the multimedia system is going to play one film on repeat. What film are you choosing and why?
Oh, some people have this question just down. I love all films.
What one do you love enough to? It's back to back.
Yeah, I know.
A few seatings of the same film.
Oh, maybe White Chicks, Bridesmaid, or a soppy film like Notebook, because I'm basic.
Listen, everyone's guilty pleasure is The Notebook.
Yeah, I know. I haven't watched it in years, but when you're on the spot. Yeah.
Okay.
Yours?
I think I go something like Inception and try and work it out. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel it's one of those films that you watch.
That's clever.
And then you pick out new things.
That's actually clever.
When he spins that thing at the end and you're not sure. I want to have an answer.
What's that one? I don't even know why I can't think of the name, but I think it's when you're put on the spot with Gerard Butler and Jamie Foxx.
Law-abiding
He's
citizen.
law-abiding citizen. I was thinking of Inception. Law-abiding citizen. I love that film as well because like just how he works and his mental, like, I'm like, yeah. So maybe I need to do something like this and like dissect it.
Do you know they were meant to be, well, I think they were meant to be the other way around until like the last minute.
No way.
Yeah.
No.
It doesn't sit right here.
No.
Doesn't sit right.
Gerard's a bit edgy. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Question number 2. Ready? So question number 2. What is the best prank you have ever played on someone or received? If you're not that way inclined.
I'm really rubbish at these questions. Best prank. Oh God, this is gonna make me sound terrible, but it's the only thing that's coming to mind. Oh no. No, I actually don't think I can say it properly. Okay, I'll use a name, but I won't actually tell you because I don't want to disclose. But there was someone famous, and basically they asked me for my number, and I got really excited, and I was like, oh, like he's a bit of me. And I told one of my guy friends, and anyways, the next day he called me on private number pretending to be him, and I was like, hey, and he was like, you clown, like why are you changing your voice for? Like, so that was like the most embarrassing thing that I can think of on the spot, but like I really am embarrassing myself if I say the name out loud, so yeah, let's not.
That's good banter from your friend though. That's something I would do.
Hardcore, like, yeah, and then rinse me for it for ages. Yeah, cringe.
Oh, shout out to your friend. That was a good one.
Yeah, yours?
So I had this app, that done it for you, but like it would call someone up in an accent and record the conversation.
Very good.
Pretending that like saying basically would call you and go, you're stealing my Wi-Fi.
I know that one. Me and my cousins used to do this. That was very funny.
And I got so many people, and I used to like just send the recordings into group chats.
Very,
and we'd
very
just
funny.
Be absolutely like,
yeah, those ones back in the day were actually hilarious. Like we had the time of our lives. We didn't need Instagram. Yeah.
I think I went with my mum to IKEA and had the app working in my pocket, and I could just see my mum in front of me, like, and me and my friend are just in tears,
crying.
and she's going to me, Fraser, like talk to him. I'm just like, I can't even breathe. But yeah, that app's golden. I need to try to find it again.
I don't think I had it on an app. I think it was just like a voice recording or something, but very funny. Very funny.
No, golden. Last one.
Okay.
You can only communicate solely with either GIFs or emojis.
Oh, emojis all day long.
Yeah, emojis.
Yeah, I'm not a GIF girl. I don't think I've actually ever sent a GIF in my life.
What?
I know.
I'm fluent in GIFs. There's a GIF for
Are
every
you?
occasion.
I feel like men are though. I feel like women, we love emojis and men love a GIF because I don't receive any GIFs from my female friends, but only from male friends. So it must be a thing.
I feel like GIFs can communicate better.
I was going to say, I feel
words.
like you like want to like explore and like you don't really know what to say maybe with your words. You're like, let me just explain this in an art form, you know? And we're just simple. We're just like
communication issues of
this, yeah. But I mean, you guys want to explore with it a bit more, you know? Like emojis are a bit basic, so we'll take the basic on that one, on that front. Yeah.
Right. So those are our icebreakers. How you feeling? Warmed up, loose, comfortable?
Yeah, a bit ready. Yeah, I'm good.
Ready? So, as you know, there's 5 questions.
Yes.
I think there's some nice ones in there. Some ones that people said are a bit deeper, a bit probing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll try to jump in and ask some questions if I need to. Obviously, this is a different experience for me because, as I said, I don't know you, so this is going to be very interesting.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it. Question number 1. You are allowed to relive a 24-hour period exactly as it is without making any sort of changes. What day do you choose? And
I don't know still. I think I was trying to like think of like times in my life that are like really, you know, like someone might lose someone and you're like, oh my God, I'd spend that time with them. I haven't really had that pain yet. I've had some really other shit times. I think mine would be like the opposite. It would maybe be like, this is a bit deep, but going back to a stage where I feel like I just didn't really know myself very well. I can't even tell you like a specific day. I wish I could. In fact, I've got one in my head. And it was with an ex-partner. And I just completely just lost myself. And I think all I'd do to relive the 24 hours is just like coach her, like guide her.
You can't change it.
I can't change it.
No, you got to relive it.
Okay, wait.
As it is. So you're reliving
wait.
the emotions, the feelings. Yeah.
I'm going to go back to a recent one.
Go for it.
I think I'm going to go back to a recent one. My festival. Yeah, cool. My festival was only 4 months ago. But when I tell you I'd had the worst week, maybe of my life, maybe not like my entire life, but like one of the worst weeks. 4 days prior to that, I found out some really bad news. And I was thinking, what the fuck? I've got a festival this week. Like I've got like people to manage and a team to run and whatever. And I didn't know how to be throughout the week. And anyways, something like took over me on the Sunday morning. And I was like, let's fucking go. Like you were put on this planet to go and change some fucking lives. What we're going to do is go out there and like put on a show. And I just honestly had the best day. I just really immersed myself in the community. I just really watched people enjoy themselves, their bodies, like interact, like, and I just felt grateful that like even in my worst time or even in one of my most difficult times, I was able to hold myself and so much more than just myself because of all the work that I've done previously. And I think just looking at her or looking at myself in that moment, just like a real proud moment. And also like, what's next? Like there's so many more things to come after a moment like that. So I think that's like the anchoring of like, you can do this. Like you've got so much ahead of you. Yeah.
Was it like sounds like a trophy of all the work that you've done on yourself that you were able to show up in the way that you did?
Yeah, and it doesn't even feel like an award. It just feels like a knowing. Like I feel like an award comes from someone else, right? I feel like this is me just being like, you got this. Like, I don't know. I think maybe so much of my career and my life has been around not validation, but like, you know, I was in the performing arts industry, so you're like waiting on someone to give you a role or you're waiting on like approval from other things and people. I think this was my moment of like, if I can get through this, I can get through anything. And yeah, it could be like a tap on the back, but that just feels basic. So maybe just like a real, I don't know, like I just think it's proud. I don't think I've ever experienced that level or deep feeling of like going to bed being like, wow, like what the hell did you just do today? Knowing what you've been through. Yeah.
It lasts a lot longer when it's intrinsic.
Yeah. I just think that sat in my body ever since. And there's been some rocky times, right? There's so many rocky times in life. I think life is hilarious like that. It's like, oh, you think you've leveled up? Let me show you, bitch. But I think, yeah, since that moment, I haven't really had I've obviously had bad days since, but I haven't really had a rocky day since because I've just reminded myself that I've got this. Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about the festival. Like, what did it look like?
Yeah, so basically I have a dance company, but I then transitioned into business coaching, but it's all been kind of around wellness. So I was like, what if we create the UK's first business, dance and wellness festival? And like part of me is like, is that even a thing? Like, do people like these three things, these three big deals? And I wasn't sure. I really wasn't sure when we put it out. I think people were like, oh, so like, what's it going to be? And that's marketing and I'll get it better next time. But seeing it play out was incredible. Like Demi was one of our guests. She's incredible. I know you've interviewed her. We had panel talks running all day from like body confidence to how to navigate social media to how to run a six-figure business. We had dance classes, twerk classes, heels classes, R&B yoga. Like it was so much stuff. And I felt like women were like, I don't even know which room to go in. Like I want to do it all. So that's something that we're trying to work on for next year. We want to do a bigger experience where like instead of having to choose, because festivals are like that, right? Which tent should I go to? Instead of having to choose, it's more like an immersive experience where like you're guided through this journey of, okay, I'm embodying the dancer and like the confidence and my body changing. And then the wellness, which is like more internal. And then the business, which is like, let's get shit done. So yeah, we're seeing it more as like an experience next year. But yeah, that's kind of what it looked like. We had people from all walks of life, all ages, all cultures. So yeah, it was just amazing to see that that's what we could birth. Yeah.
Sounds exciting.
It was.
I think I go for R&B yoga.
I know.
And embarrass myself.
It literally sold out like as soon as we put it out because I think everyone's like, Well, I'm a girl of R&B, right? So like, yeah, all I keep thinking of is like, what can I bring that I know I love into my spaces? Because I think sometimes people are just like, I don't know, trying to reinvent the wheel and trying to do something so crazy. It's like, just be you. Like, just do what you do and like bring some quirks in, refine it, and just like bring your people in that you know would love that. I wouldn't say business is that easy, but like the concept kind of just should be. So yeah, I'm an R&B girl and I love movement, and it was like, let's just do R&B yoga. Why not?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So question 2, I think you're going to quite like, because you almost went there
Yes.
with question 1.
Yes.
But you got to go back to any moment in time and tell a younger you one thing.
Sure.
And one thing only. Like, where'd you go and what did you say?
Yeah, I think there's like that time in my life where it was like centered around being in a bad relationship, not having a clue what I wanted to do in my career, not really having like, I don't want to say a moral compass, because I've always been like a good girl by heart, like, but just like, you know, I was a little bit envious of people and I didn't really know myself. So I would just kind of like do what I needed to do to fit in. And I look back and I'm like, oh, like that's so not me now. But I just wish I could go back and just say like, you're good. Like just chill. Like you don't have to fit in. You don't have to be someone that you're not. Like just stop. Like just stop. And I feel like really emotional when I think about, again, her, because it's so easy to be led by other people that feel powerful than you. And I think I was with a partner who I don't like throwing words away, you know, like narcissism is quite a strong word, but like manipulation was real. And so when you feel like someone's kind of a bit overpowering, you shrink and you just become like this yes person, which I look at myself now and I'm like, I'm absolutely not that. But you become this like yes person, and you're like, you don't have a voice, you don't have thoughts of your own. You're just like, what do I do to impress this person? Or what do I do to mold into what this person needs me to be? And it was just like, ugh. So I think I would just go back and just say to her, like, what do you want? Like, what makes you happy? What would make you feel free? You know, just ask the right questions and just say, like, even though you don't maybe feel good enough now, like, you will be, and you'll do some fucking incredible things. So yeah, I don't even know if I'd try to fix her. I'd just sit with her and just be like what she needed in that moment.
Comfort her.
Yeah. I think we just try to fix everyone. Like, I think people, I love this saying, like, you just need to sit in the mud with someone. You just need to be held. Yeah.
And how long were you in that space for?
A long time, like maybe like 4 years. It wasn't just centered around the relationship. I think there were other things going on in my career that also made that really obvious. I speak about this a lot as like my starting point in my business, but I had a manager who was just awful. And that shook a lot of things up in my career as well, because it just made me think I don't want to be told what to do. I don't want to be told or dictated to of how I should act and behave. Like, it was very controlling. You know, it was stuff like, you know, you need to send me pictures of your body so that, you know, we're making sure that you're like camera ready, but like, just take off another layer. Like, you know, it was just stuff like, I look at now and I'll be like, bitch. But back then it was just like, oh my God, this is my career. So like, shut up, put up, and So there was so many things happening in my life, boundaries, friendships, family stuff, that all of it was just a shit show. So I think, again, like when your whole world is like, I don't know who I am, everything is that much darker. So yeah, that period felt long. Well, it was long, but it felt long.
Yeah, 4 years is a time.
Yeah. But we good. No, I'm joking. We've moved past from that. We've moved from that. But the love and compassion and softness I have for that version of myself is unreal. And if I'm honest, had that shit not happened, which we all know, you know, I wouldn't have been able to start a community. Like, my slogan for Heels and Feels is in my feels. It was all about like understanding my emotions, like sitting with myself, like understanding myself. I was always the person that was like law of attraction, reading The Secret when I was 16, but I was very much toxic positivity. Like, everything's fine, it's fine, like we're good. But it wasn't, like inside I was crumbling. So I think on the other side of that was like more sense of self, more like security in who I was as a person. So yeah.
I'm with you. I was, excuse me, putting together a post the other day about emotions, and I think we can get so caught up in just wanting the positive ones, but it's also very important, as you said, to sit with the negative ones and give them space and embrace them.
I feel like if you don't, like, you're just denying yourself of growth, like not even growth, but like character. Like if you don't understand yourself in your darkest times, like how do you ever have the ability to hold someone else in theirs? You know, like how can you literally hold someone in grief, or I don't know, someone loses someone or someone's going through something similar and you didn't immerse yourself in that lesson? You don't get to be of service in that moment. You're just there, which is lovely. But like I've had clients come to me with some of the darkest stuff. And, you know, we all know we don't want to hear like, it had to happen for a reason at the time. You don't want to hear that shit. You're like, whatever. But had you not gone through that shit, had you not gone through that stuff, how would you be able to hold someone else in that pain or suffering? Yeah, I see everything as service. Sorry, I'm just going to add like one little story. I remember like maybe 3 years ago, I was going through some great things. Like everything was smooth sailing. Everything was really cool. And I remember like asking God, I was like, teach me something, because this don't feel right. Like life shouldn't be like this. Like I don't want to invite trauma in, but like I'm supposed to be of service. So like give me, right? I was like this vessel, like give me. And then I had the worst year of my life. So I kind of like invited it in to a degree. I did. But my God, like the lessons and what I feel turned me into like a woman, like really understanding myself and therefore being able to help. I would never take that away. So I think we need to all not see it as like a selfish thing of like, why is this happening in my life? Why me? But more of like, give it to me so that I can teach, or so that I can be of service. Like, how can I help people? I think that's the biggest like gift in life.
There's no L's, there's only lessons. And I need to thank you because to go back to something you was just saying, someone came to me the other day and was saying that they're just about to lose their grandparent, but they don't want to grieve, so they can be there for their mum. And what I was trying to convey is by not grieving with your mum, you're robbing her of an opportunity to go through that with you,
and like to share. Like, and I know loss isn't something you want to celebrate or like enjoy it, but imagine feeling like you don't have someone in that moment where you could be just with that person, present in the loss. Like, why would you want to bypass that just to comfort someone when you're not really? You're just, robbing them of the experience, denying them of the ability to connect. Like,
I feel like as men, I don't know what's going on our programming though, but when loss does happen, it's like we want to be there.
Okay.
And that's how we show up.
Yeah. Do you think that does impact you later on down the line though?
Oh, 100%. I said when my nan passed, I told myself,
I'm good.
I'm not going to cry. Like, I'm going to show up for my mum by standing there and be this person. And then a couple of weeks later, I had my first panic attack. And it was just like the emotions have to come out somehow.
That's good that it was a couple of weeks. Some people take 10 years.
Take ages.
Like, what? It comes out in rage. It comes out in all the things. Yeah. How did that feel? Like, did you almost feel like you wanted to like rewind back and just like allow yourself to grieve?
It's something I'm still working on. I think the first time it came up, I tried to just bang a plaster on it. So it's something that's loss is an interesting one for me. So that's why even when it was brought to me, I didn't have the perfect answer because I still don't know it myself, but I knew it sounded how you just put it across. So that's why I have to thank you for that.
I do think, like you said it, you're robbing someone of an experience. And if you can't see it as, and I completely understand it's not a gift to lose someone, but the feeling or the understanding that you will gain from it to then be able to either hold someone in that or to go through it again, because shit, the next time might be harder. Like, damn, like life is like, I'm teaching you this for a reason, like take the reason, because otherwise it's going to be harder next time. But I think we're like, no, don't hit me. Yeah.
Definitely. Now, question 3 is probably my personal favorite,
Okay.
but I like it even more when I get to ask women. But it's about power and strength.
Yes.
Those 2 words have been things like the example at the funeral that I feel have had sort of myself in a bind for a very long time, and probably a lot of men in a bind. So I would like to know like what those 2 words mean to you at this present time, and maybe an example of when you feel you've shown them.
Yeah. I feel like power and strength sit at like the core of my brands, if I'm being honest. Like my literal branding is like pussy power.
Yeah, I saw.
But, and this is like the real but, and I guess I always bring it down to emotions, is like power and strength could not come without vulnerability, like period. Like, how can you hold people? How can you be, whether that's being on stage or teaching people or anything, leading people, if you don't know what it's like to be rocked, to be swayed, to be like, I don't know, I just feel like your vulnerability is such a strength, and it just always gets looked at as a weakness. But your ability to connect, to understand people, like that's a fucking superpower. So yeah, strength and power is pretty much the core of who I am, what I teach, because I want people, imagine like powerful people with good intentions, what we get to do with the world. Like, and this is why I hate the concept of like money is evil. No, money in the pockets of good, like good-hearted, loving, intentional people will change the world. So power and strength in the bodies of intentional people, we can only go off and do incredible things, but I think it has to be led from authenticity, vulnerability, all these things that are considered like, you know, don't be so that online. I used to get that all the time, like, you're being a bit much online, like, don't cry, don't this, don't that. But okay, it's built me a community that resonate and that actually find strength now in their own beings. So like, yeah. Yes to power and strength, but yes, even more to vulnerability.
And is there a moment that sticks out for you where you're like, I did exactly that. That's how I showed up today?
I wouldn't say it's a moment. I think it's when I first created my first business, Hills and Feels. I didn't care. I was watching some of my content back the other day and I was like, I was ruthless. I just was out here on the internet just I didn't have a clue what I was doing or saying. I didn't have a brand to uphold, or, you know, I just was being myself. And I honestly think that's what created this like movement. So I just think like, say the things, like do the things. Like if you're thinking about talking about loss online and you're like, but it's heavy, there's people that need to hear about loss. If you're thinking about, I don't know, I want to start a movement called Pussy Power, then like lead the movement. Like that's how I see it. If it's so innately in you and you're like, it's screaming, it wants to come out, I want to talk about this thing more, talk about it. It's really that simple, and it might feel a bit scary at the time, but we see like there's literally I don't know what the word is, but like, there's space for everyone, whether that's online or in person. Like there's so many different types of businesses that you think surely that doesn't exist, but it does, because someone was authentic enough to just put themselves out there. So I think it was just, when I started my business, I look back at her and I'm like, you brave motherfucker. Like, yeah, wow. Actually, I wish I had a bit of her ballsiness at times now, because sometimes I guess I have to play things safe because I have a business, I have employees. I'm like, oh, we've got to make the right decision. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Versus like, I just want to do what I want to do. So I miss her a little bit. I'll take that from her. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So me and my friend did a book club.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't know what made me pick it, but it was like a Brené Brown book.
Okay.
And it was on vulnerability. And we were like driving to football talking about it.
Yeah.
That was a massive book for me, to be honest. If there's
what's that book? I don't
want to get it wrong. I feel like it was called like The Power of Vulnerability. And then there's something about like parenting in the title.
Okay. No, I know the author. I've heard their name, but I don't think I've read this.
It was a massive, but basically it just said, in a nutshell, everything that you just said about power and strength, and then just like showing up as you and saying things and just
that's what this is.
Not caring.
Yeah. And like I know people are on this search for like, I need to find my purpose, and I need to just figure out, what do you do every day? What do you talk about? What do you like? What do you enjoy? It's in there somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Like, what are the conversations that like keep you up at night? And what are the things that you're like, I can't wait for this? Like just tweak little bits and just put it together, and that's probably your purpose. Do you know what I mean? It really isn't some deep, profound, weird thing. It's just you uncovered.
Yeah, I'm still trying to work it out myself. I feel like...
But you have. Like, I know like the like ta-da moment hasn't happened, but like you would not be sat speaking to strangers, putting yourself in uncomfortable rooms. This isn't uncomfortable, by the way, but like in comfortable environments if you didn't know that there's a bigger calling. And like also how good is it to like not know? Like the unknown is so part of life. Like if you knew exactly what everything was and you figured it all out at 21, like it would be really boring. So you're on a journey, you'll figure it out. I know I'm going to change something that I'm doing next year, like it's forever evolving. So yeah.
Yeah, as long as it's meaningful, I just want to help people. As you said that word, like service, I think I've done some quizzes once and it was like service is your thing, hence the teaching, hence the coaching, like it's helping others.
Obvious, like it's obvious. And even in the questions that you're asking, you know, like it's not just a podcast to just like talk about, he should pay the first date. But it's deep. It's stuff that people want to hear and connect with. So you're doing it.
Thank you. Yeah. With people like you leading the way, which is lovely. It was meant to happen. So we're over halfway.
Okay.
Question 4. We've kind of already been to a similar space, so I don't know if you have another one, but this is about probably one of your most, your darkest time, like what was going on. What did that look like? And how did you come out of that?
Yeah. For me, I went through a really difficult time, like hormonally. So I have polycystic ovaries that can look like many different things. It can look like late periods. It could look like irregular cycles, acne, so many different things. But I've already at 32 had like 4 operations, had half of my ovary cut off. I've had ruptured cysts. I've had the lot. And anyways, that's actually not really affected me because it's just something that I've dealt with. But I was on the pill for 12 years and was fine. Like I was fine. I was getting regular periods, etc. Then I came off the pill because I just wanted my body to have a break. So I was like, cool. I took like 2 months off. And then I was like, okay, well that pill obviously works for me. I'll go back on it. Something obviously didn't connect with my body. Something obviously was rejecting it. But I honestly had the worst 2 months of my life. Like I was suicidal. I was like, I just want to like end my life. Like it was so dark. But luckily I understood myself and I was like, these aren't my thoughts. Like I know myself, these aren't my thoughts. And I feel so like passionate because I'm like, imagine how many women don't. Imagine how many women just think it's them, that they're crazy. Honestly, I felt I was crazy. And I'd be like, nothing's even fucking wrong in my life. Like nothing's even bad. Like nothing's going on. Like why do I feel like this? But honestly, if you're just producing too much X or too little X, that's what it takes for your body to be off. So for me, it's like that dark time. Because all it took then, I just said, no, I'm coming off the pill. I spoke to my doctors. I was like, this isn't me. Like this isn't me. I know my body. And then I've been fine ever since. But I just really want to like ensure that women are like asking questions and being like persistent about their bodies and what's going on. And if they feel off, they feel anxious, they feel vulnerable, they feel sad, like ask questions, go deeper. You know, not always will the NHS be able to answer this. I mean, I got told at 16 for my first, when I had my first cyst removal, that either I was pregnant, which I wasn't because I was a virgin, and that my mum was psycho and she had paranoid thoughts about her daughter when I had a 12-inch cyst ruptured in my body. Like, you're not always going to get answers. You're not always going to get the help, but be persistent. You know yourself, you know your body. And if you don't, start journaling or start writing down things that you're like, okay, cool. It's not just, you know, a period tracker, but it's something that's like, this doesn't feel right today, okay? And I noticed that when I ate this food, or I noticed when I had this irregular sleep pattern, or just be aware, vigilant, like just be with your body, because Jesus Christ, that really could have been like a bad moment if I didn't know myself and my normal behavioral like ways. But yeah, that was probably like the darkest point that wasn't related to like a situation or, you know, a heartbreak or a time in my life. It was more like just understanding that women are going through things on a much like impactful way when you don't understand your hormones, your body. Yeah.
And even catching yourself, I feel like sometimes you can be in a situation like that, and the fact that you were able to come out of it and go, wait, this isn't me. Whereas some people just get lost and go down.
Get lost. Again, if that was the 23-year-old version of me that was telling you with that 4-year cycle, I don't know what could have happened. And that's scary because how many people in this life already have to go through hard enough stuff? Like not knowing that it just might be that you're producing too much progesterone, like, or whatever it is, estrogen. So yeah, that was like a real powerful moment, if I'm honest, of like, thank fuck for therapy, like, or thank fuck for just knowing my emotions, because yeah, it was so evident that like, this isn't my thinking, like this isn't me, but it was consuming every part of me. So scary, really scary.
And when you stopped taking the medication, did all of those other things sort of subside?
Straight away. Like, well, I was logging everything and I was keeping like a diary, but I would say like within the month I was kind of back to normal. And then I started another pill. Like, I'm not trying to conceive right now. So I started another pill and I was fine. Like, I don't always, if I'm honest, if I could get off the pill and like be natural, and you know, that is the desire, like I would love to move towards there, because I'd love to fully understand my body like in its natural form, rather than having the pill or hormones and stuff inside you. But I think having polycystic ovaries and having so many ups and downs and not knowing where I'm at, and the pill regulates your cycle, it's just helpful. But yeah, it almost happened instantly. So yeah, it might just be that you need to change up your pill or something that's going on, but it's not always you. And if it is you, then please just seek help, ask for help, you know. Yeah.
And that's why I'm like very grateful that I'm able to have female guests on here, because I'll be honest, until very recently I was so oblivious to this whole notion of I'm putting hormones into my body, it can do this and this to me. Like, it was just like, oh, you take the pill, that's
But I think even women, we're slowly being more and more exposed to stuff where it's like, oh, I thought this was just normal. Like, we got told to be on the pill from like 14, 15. You know, like when you're just getting handed things to take from that early on, you don't question things in your body. You just assume that you're good and like, okay, cool. So I think it's great, obviously, that men are becoming more aware. I think there's been so many conversations that are happening on the internet or in TV shows, and people are being much more open about it. But I think it's just something that we need to keep talking about. Because that really was crazy. I thought I had PMDD, which is like a heightened version of what we usually go through as women with our periods and our cycles, but it wasn't, because I've been fine ever since I've come off the pill. So yeah, just ask the questions.
That's very important.
Yeah.
All right, our final question.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for all that you've
Thank
shared
you.
so far. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. Vulnerable, right?
Feeling vulnerable?
Like, yeah, but also like, so we should. That's literally what I just said. So I'm like, embrace it, Cherelle.
Practicing what we're preaching. So question 5 is about sort of your biggest like moment of change, like your biggest U-turn, your biggest pivot, like in the way that you do something or the way that you think or feel. So what sort of led to that, and what change happened?
I would say I have covered quite a few of these like moments in my life. But again, I'm happy to talk on something that was like more recent this year. I think it was just honestly something so small, but something that like changes everything. It's just like going from people pleaser to like someone who just sets boundaries, like, because it impacts everything in your life. I was even saying earlier that the way you show up online doesn't have to be for everyone. You know, you get to keep things a little bit to you. You get to hold things dear to you that matter to you and not to everyone. You don't have to prove yourself. And I think I'd seen a few things in my business play out that I just didn't like. Friends that had kind of gone behind my back, people that were just like talking shit about my business, friends that were also like doing some like real shady shit. And I think it was just like, it's enough now. Like, I don't have to be, yes, I have this like crazy loving heart and I want to help everyone, but also like that doesn't mean that you have to get walked over in the process. And I think that's impacted everything. It's impacted like relationships with my parents, the way that I approach dating, the way that I see myself in the world. Like, and it's crazy that it took like it wasn't even anything crazy. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't anything profound or someone done this massive thing. It was just like, I just didn't want to be walked over. I was like, it's enough of the good girl, like nice. It's okay, you can do it again and again. Like, no. You know, because even though I'd changed in my life and I'd created these businesses and like success had come in, I was still underneath like, yeah, but like I just want to be nice. I just want to be like, no. So that shift, if I'm honest, happened like early this year. And I think like I lost quite a lot of following because I just showed up differently and I got a lot of like smack talking about me and all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, I know myself. Do you know what I mean? As long as you sleep good at night and you know that you are doing the right things, if it pisses some people off along the way, like, good for you. Good for, like, prioritizing your space. Yeah, I don't even know if that was, like, a deep enough way of answering it. But I think, yeah, just prioritizing what I want first. Yeah.
No, very important.
Yeah.
And as someone that I feel like, where we're, like, kind of people of service, it's easy to become, like, people pleasers.
Yeah.
So talk to me because I struggle to say no. I struggle to say no.
I think it goes back to that like impact piece. Like if you are just yes, 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 and given to everyone else, then like how, I don't want to use the like pouring from an empty cup thing, but how do you get to actually be of service? If you, like I always say it in the most like big way, but if you are put on this planet for a reason, if like literally, if you're put on this planet for a reason, that reason is to help people, but you're like 30% because, you know, you kind of had to check that one yesterday and help that one today and do this. And like, yeah, that's also being of service, but it's also someone taking the piss. It's also someone like not pouring back into you. So like when you start seeing like, oh, hold up, this person literally only ever calls me and they just offload. They never ask me how I'm doing. Cool. Yeah. I'm just going to make it 15 minutes this time. Or I'm just going to say I'm not available today. I've got space for you on Saturday when you know that your diary is a bit more empty. It's just shifting. It's not even necessarily being like a bad person and being like, I don't want you in my life anymore. Like I think all of us have had to do that as adults with our parents and family. Like it's really, really uncomfortable. Like everyone asks me like, how do you manage yourself? And I'm just like, by just having conversations that most people don't want to. You know, like this year, there's a lot of things like in my family that, you know, and I just feel like just saying what you need to say instead of beating around the bush is the most helpful thing because then you can show up the way that you want to show up. And also just knowing what that looks like for you. I think I just started recognizing, I don't know, people would either like call me at a certain time and I'm like, I check that time. It's the same time always. So like you're always calling me like when you're on your way home from work. You just want to like offload. And then you get home and you're like, all right, then speak to you another time. And you're like, I haven't even said
the car call is famous. Everyone does it.
So, but it starts to make you question, oh, okay, like, let me not do that back to someone else. Like, it's a ripple effect. Like, the way you behave is just going to change everyone around you. And it's the same thing with therapy. Like, I know a lot of people will say, like, I don't know why it's always me doing the work. But you actually get to be a walking example of the work. You know, something, and I'm happy to share this, but like, my dad for years had always been like a bit of a prodder, like banter, like, oh, therapy. Oh. Do you know what I mean? Like everything's like, oh, you depressed, you this. And I really mocked it until he went through some shit and was like, oh, damn. Like you've literally been this anchor in this family that's like been like literally a mirror this whole entire time and I've just ignored it and put the curtain over it. And now I can see like you were just trying to help, you were just trying to teach, you were just trying to like make a better version of myself. And like I love the fact that my dad's now in therapy and he's, you know, I don't care, be 60, be 80, but do the damn work. Like, you know, you get to leave a legacy behind and that legacy should be something that you're proud of. And I said to my dad when he went back to therapy or started therapy properly, I said, I know that you'll get to look at yourself in the mirror and love yourself as a man. I don't care if it's taken you 63 years. Like, how incredible would that day be where you really just banter aside, say like, I did myself proud. I like got rid of the stories from my childhood. I overcome these things. I just think that's incredible. Like, do you know what I mean? So you get to be a walking example of the work when you empower people without even knowing that you are, but just like staying on track, not swayed when someone says, can you do this for me? Can you do that? Like people pleasing.
Yeah. It's never too late. That's lovely for your dad.
So beautiful.
And I appreciate that because like I'm trying to transition and say no more. But now I kind of like the whole, maybe it's not about saying no, it's about making small changes that work for me.
Yeah.
So I like
and
that.
I don't know what the word is. Like, instead of dictating or telling people what to do, like, just be the behavior back. So for instance, like with my dad, like it got to a point where I was like, I'm not having serious conversations with you because you can't hold that space for me. So like just withdrawing my energy or like changing. And then it's like, oh, in order to have a conversation, I'm going to have to maneuver differently. So you're almost like inspiring someone to make a change, or like, I guess, allowing someone to make a change. Because if you deny them and you constantly meet them where they're at, they don't have to change. Do you know what I mean? So I just think like those small tweaks that you make will hopefully invite someone else to, oh, I have to shift with him. Like, I can't keep doing the same thing because it's not working. So, yeah.
1% margins.
We like the 1%.
Yeah, I talk about that a lot. So
we like the atomic habit. Yeah.
Perfect. Right, we're at the end.
Yeah. Well, not yay. That sounds rude.
Almost.
But like, yay that we had a great episode. Thank you so much for having me.
We did.
Thank you.
We end with a sign off.
Okay.
So to whoever's watching, the one viewer, however many, who knows, it's just about one little bit of advice, a saying, a quote, whatever it is that can make their day, hopefully, that 1% better. What will you leave them with?
Just because this has been like present in the last few weeks, and I guess kind of going back even to like what it is that I do as a job, like people feel you before they see you. And like I like just want that to like land, because you think it's all about image, not you. But people think it's about image. People think it's about their content. People think it's about, I don't know, what they do in the world, what their work is, what their job is. People feel you before they see you, you know? Like, forget the titles, forget status. Be about it. Like, literally embody who you are, because I promise that's what's going to make you be felt. Like, in this world, if you want to make a difference, just be it. You know, so much over the last few weeks, like I've had people being like, your aura is just different. But I'm like, I'm just feeling it. Like, I'm just in it, versus like talking about it. Like, we call it congruency, like saying something, doing it, being it. So if anyone's wanting to make a habit, yes, the 1% is going to get you somewhere, but really it's just about embodying like everything that you say, think, feel, believe, and just being it. Yeah. People feel you before they see you. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And
Yeah.
That sits like slaps with me. I don't know, it's doing something to me. Do you know why? Because where I've been on this journey and I've decided I'm going to be me, my friend was just like, listen, just make sure that you're practicing what you preach in every area.
Yeah.
And that is literally exactly what I've been doing. But even to going into the shop, like the way that people are looking at me and interacting with me, the smiles, like that's what I feel has been happening. So,
and also you get to catch yourself when you're not. Like, there's been times, such little things, and it's so funny you use that as an example. I did the other day, I went into the petrol station, I just like paid and I didn't even look the person in the face, and I was like, that's not you. Like, you're about feeling, right? So just like smile at someone or look them in the eye, or just like be present. Like, not every day be on phones. And like, don't get me wrong, we all have habits, you know, but it's just acknowledging them and not beating yourself up about them. Just be, even if you're like, oh, that felt awful, like I feel a bit guilty for that, just change it. Like, you don't have to sit and make yourself feel bad. Just get back on track. Like, let's go. Yeah.
It's a beautiful ending.
Yay.
And what I will say, like being vulnerable, as we said, like I was super nervous for this one. I was like, I don't know her. She doesn't know me.
I know.
She doesn't know this about me. And I was driving up and I was feeling like a bit of an imposter. You know, there's like self-doubt. Yeah, and I was doing my box breathing. I was like, no, regulate. But I've enjoyed this and I'm so grateful for you, like coming out for me when you don't know me.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
This.
And also, like, thank you. Like, thank you for being an example of like literally what we need in the world. I know that sounds really deep, but we need it. So like, even if it's uncomfortable, you better go through it because we need it.
No, I'm not stopping.
Yeah, and there's so many times where I'm sure like the imposter will come up, but like I feel like ridiculous when I'm like, it's your duty, but like it is. You were put on this planet for a reason. Like, fulfill it. Like, go and do the most uncomfortable things, but change lives in the process. Like, yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
End of episode 6. It's been a pleasure.